The plasma storm raged across the outer rim of the Kepler 442 system, sending waves of electromagnetic fury that would cripple most starships. But the ESV Prometheus was not most starships. Built with human stubbornness and ingenuity, it pushed through the cosmic tempest like a steel whale cutting through angry waves. Captain Sarah Chen gripped the command chair as another plasma discharge rocked the vessel. The bridge lights flickered, casting dancing shadows across the faces of her crew. Through the reinforced viewport, she could see their destination, a small research station orbiting the fourth planet, its distress beacon cutting through the interference like a desperate cry for help. "Captain, we're receiving multiple emergency signals from Research Station Echo 7, reported Lieutenant Martinez from the communications console. His voice carried the weight of urgency that made every spacer's blood run cold. "Medical emergency, priority Alpha. They're requesting immediate evacuation." Sarah's jaw tightened. Echo 7 was humanity's most remote research outpost, studying the strange crystalline formations found deep within the planet's crust. The station housed 12 researchers and their families, including some of the brightest minds in xenogeology. More importantly, it housed her younger sister, Dr. Lisa Chen, and her 3-year-old daughter, Emma. "How bad is the storm interference?" Sarah asked her navigation officer. "Severe, Captain. We can dock, but any delay could trap us here for weeks. The next plasma cycle peaks in 18 hours. Sarah stared at the storm data scrolling across her screen. The cosmic phenomenon occurred every few months, turning the system into a death trap for any vessel caught within its grasp. Ships had been lost before, their crews never seen again, consumed by the electrical fury of space itself. "Ma'am," the communications officer interrupted. "I'm getting fragmentary transmissions from the station. Something about a viral outbreak, multiple casualties, and—" He paused, his face pale. "They're specifically requesting you, Captain." By name, a chill ran down Sarah's spine. Lisa would only request her specifically if something was terribly wrong. The two sisters had shared an unbreakable bond since childhood, surviving the harsh mining colonies of Europa together after their parents died in a reactor accident. Sarah had joined the Space Navy to protect people like Lisa, who pushed the boundaries of human knowledge in the most dangerous corners of the galaxy. "Set course for Echo 7, Sarah commanded. "All hands prepare for emergency docking procedures." The Prometheus adjusted its trajectory, its fusion engines burning bright against the cosmic storm. As they approached the research station, Sarah could see the damage. Several sections showed signs of emergency sealing, and the usually bright observation windows were dark. The station rotated slowly, looking like a wounded bird trying to stay aloft. Dr. Marcus Webb, the ship's chief medical officer, appeared on the bridge. His weathered face showed concern as he reviewed the preliminary reports. "Captain, based on the fragmentary data we're receiving, this appears to be some kind of hemorrhagic fever. Extremely aggressive, high mortality rate. We'll need to implement full quarantine protocols." "Understood, Doctor. How long until we can safely dock?" 15 minutes, Captain, but I must advise extreme caution. Whatever they've encountered out there, it's unlike anything in our medical databases." Sarah nodded grimly. In the depths of space, humanity often encountered things that challenged every assumption about life and death. The galaxy was vast and full of surprises, not all of them pleasant. But humans had always found a way to adapt, to survive, to protect their own. As the docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud that echoed through the ship, Sarah stood from her command chair. She could feel the weight of responsibility on her shoulders, the same weight that had driven humanity to spread across the stars despite every obstacle the universe threw at them. "Dr. Webb, select your best team, full environmental suits, Class A contamination protocols. I'm going with you." "Captain, regulations clearly state—" "Regulations don't have a 3-year-old niece trapped on that station." Sarah cut him off. "Besides, someone needs to coordinate the evacuation. That someone is me." The airlock cycled with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Beyond the reinforced door lay Echo 7, and somewhere within its corridors was her family. Sarah checked her suit systems one final time, ensuring the life support would hold regardless of what they encountered. In the darkness of space, with a plasma storm raging around them and an unknown plague spreading through the station, humanity was about to face another test. But humans had always been good at tests, especially the kind that seemed impossible to pass. The Prometheus had traveled through the storm to reach them. Now it was time to discover what horrors awaited within the research station, and what price would need to be paid to save the lives trapped inside. The corridors of Research Station Echo 7 were eerily quiet as Captain Chen and her medical team moved through the main hub. Emergency lighting cast long shadows across the walls, and the air recycling system hummed with an irregular rhythm that suggested damaged components. Their environmental suits' heads-up displays showed concerning atmospheric readings: elevated temperature, unusual particulate matter, and trace amounts of unknown organic compounds. Dr. Webb's voice crackled through the comm system. "Captain, I'm detecting biological contamination throughout the station. Whatever this pathogen is, it's airborne and highly virulent." Sarah nodded grimly as they approached the medical bay. Through the reinforced glass windows, she could see figures in isolation beds, their bodies connected to various life support machines. The sight made her stomach clench with worry about Lisa and Emma. The medical bay doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing Dr. Elizabeth Kovac, Echo 7's chief medical officer. She looked exhausted, her usually pristine lab coat stained with blood and other fluids. Despite wearing a full-face respirator, she appeared to have been working tirelessly to save her patients. "Captain Chen, thank God you're here," Dr. Kovac said through the intercom system. "We've lost 6 people already, and 3 more are in critical condition. The pathogen appeared suddenly 4 days ago, and nothing in our medical arsenal has been effective." Sarah's eyes scanned the isolation ward, searching for familiar faces. "Where are Dr. Lisa Chen and her daughter?" Dr. Kovac's expression grew even more somber. "Isolation room 3. Lisa was one of the first to fall ill, and Emma showed symptoms yesterday. I've managed to slow the progression, but..." She gestured helplessly at the medical equipment surrounding them. Through the transparent aluminum walls of Isolation Room 3, Sarah could see her sister lying unconscious on a medical bed, various tubes and wires monitoring her vital signs. The sight of Lisa's pale, sweat-covered face sent a jolt of pain through Sarah's chest. In the smaller bed beside her, little Emma slept fitfully, her small body dwarfed by the medical equipment keeping her alive. Dr. Webb was already analyzing the medical data on his portable scanner. "This is unlike anything I've ever encountered. The pathogen appears to attack the circulatory system directly, causing massive internal bleeding and organ failure. It's as if the blood itself is being systematically destroyed." "How long do they have?" Sarah asked, though she dreaded the answer. "At the current rate of progression, perhaps 12 hours for the child, maybe 18 for your sister. Their immune systems are fighting, but they're losing ground rapidly." Sarah stared at her family through the isolation barrier, feeling the familiar weight of command responsibility mixed with personal desperation. She had faced hostile alien species, navigated through cosmic anomalies, and survived battles that had claimed entire fleets. But nothing had prepared her for the helplessness of watching her loved ones slip away. "There has to be something," she said firmly. "What about the research they were conducting? Could there be a connection?" Dr. Kovac activated a holographic display showing the station's recent findings. They were studying crystalline formations from the planet's deep crust. The crystals exhibited unusual properties, seeming to interact with biological matter in ways we couldn't explain. Lisa's team was particularly excited about some kind of symbiotic relationship they discovered. The hologram showed images of beautiful, translucent crystals that seemed to pulse with their own internal light. Sarah studied them carefully, noting the way they appeared to respond to the presence of living tissue in the laboratory recordings. "Wait," Dr. Webb interrupted, pointing at one of the recordings. "Look at this timestamp. The first symptoms appeared exactly 24 hours after direct contact with these crystals. But notice something else. The crystal's luminescence increased significantly when exposed to human blood samples." Sarah felt a chill of realization. "You think the crystals are somehow feeding on the blood?" "It's possible. But if that's true, then perhaps the relationship isn't entirely parasitic. Maybe there's a way to reverse the process to make the crystals work for us instead of against us." Dr. Kovac nodded slowly. Lisa mentioned something in her final log entry before she collapsed. She said the crystals seemed to be trying to communicate, to establish some kind of biological link. She theorized that the illness might be an extreme immune response to an attempted symbiosis. Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. Throughout human history, their species had survived by adapting to impossible situations, by finding solutions where others saw only problems. The galaxy was filled with hostile environments and alien threats, but humans had always found a way to turn disadvantage into opportunity. "Where are these crystals now?" she asked. "Laboratory 7 in a sealed containment unit." "But Captain, the risk is losing my family and everyone else on this station." Sarah cut her off. "If these crystals are the key, then we need to understand them. Dr. Webb, how long before the plasma storm makes departure impossible?" 14 hours, Captain." Sarah looked one more time at Lisa and Emma, their pale faces peaceful in medically induced sleep. The monitoring equipment showed their life signs growing weaker with each passing hour. In the depths of space, surrounded by cosmic fury and an alien pathogen, humanity was about to attempt something that defied all conventional medical wisdom. But then again, humans had always been best when the odds were impossible. Laboratory 7 was a testament to human scientific ambition, filled with advanced analysis equipment and containment systems that could handle the most dangerous materials known to science. At the center of the room, within a transparent containment field, sat the source of Echo 7's crisis, a cluster of crystalline formations that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Captain Chen stood before the containment unit, studying the alien crystals with a mixture of fascination and determination. They were beautiful in an unsettling way, their translucent surfaces shifting between deep blue and violet hues. As she watched, the crystal's internal luminescence seemed to respond to her presence, growing brighter and more rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Dr. Webb finished his preliminary scans and looked up from his equipment with a puzzled expression. "Captain, these readings are extraordinary. The crystals aren't just inert minerals. They're displaying characteristics of living tissue. Neural activity, metabolic processes, even what appears to be cellular communication." "Living crystals," Sarah murmured, remembering the countless briefings about alien life forms encountered throughout human expansion into the galaxy. That would explain the biological interaction. Dr. Kovacs joined them, carrying Lisa's research notes and personal recordings. "Your sister was convinced these weren't just alien artifacts, but actual organisms. She believed they were trying to establish some form of symbiotic relationship with the research team." Sarah activated Lisa's final log entry, her sister's voice filling the laboratory through the speakers. Despite the exhaustion evident in her tone, Lisa's scientific excitement was unmistakable. Personal log, Dr. Lisa Chen, Day 4 of direct crystal exposure. The specimens continue to demonstrate unprecedented biological integration attempts. When exposed to human blood samples, they exhibit rapid metabolic acceleration and enhanced neural activity. I believe they're attempting to create a biological bridge, possibly for communication or mutual benefit. The cellular interaction is unlike anything in xenobiology literature. The recording paused and Lisa's image appeared in the holographic display. She looked tired but exhilarated, her eyes bright with the thrill of discovery that had driven humanity to explore the darkest corners of space. "I'm experiencing some unusual symptoms," Lisa continued. "Elevated heart rate, minor hemorrhaging, but also enhanced cognitive function and increased physical stamina. It's as if the crystals are trying to improve human biology while learning from it. Tomorrow I'll begin direct neural interface experiments." The recording ended abruptly, and Sarah felt a chill of understanding. Lisa had been trying to communicate directly with the crystals when the outbreak began. Whatever had happened during that attempted contact had triggered the violent immune response that was now killing everyone on the station. She was trying to bridge the gap between human and crystal consciousness, Dr. Webb said quietly. But something went wrong in the translation. Sarah stared at the pulsing crystals, her mind working through the implications. Throughout human history, first contact situations had been fraught with danger and misunderstanding. Languages barriers, cultural differences, and biological incompatibilities had led to conflicts and tragedies. But humans had also learned to overcome these obstacles through patience, sacrifice, and sometimes desperate innovation. "What if the illness isn't an attack?" she said suddenly. "What if it's a failed attempt at biological integration? The crystals are trying to merge with human physiology, but our immune systems are fighting the process." Dr. Kovacs nodded slowly. That would explain the progressive nature of the symptoms. The crystals aren't trying to destroy human biology. They're trying to enhance it. But the process is too aggressive, too rapid for human physiology to adapt. "Then we need to find a way to slow the integration process," Dr. Webb said. "Or better yet, Find a way to communicate with the crystals and negotiate a less violent approach. Sarah looked at the containment field, knowing that somewhere beyond its protective barrier lay either salvation or death for everyone on the station. The plasma storm continued to rage outside, limiting their time and options. In 8 hours, they would need to evacuate or risk being trapped in the system for weeks. "I need to make direct contact," she said firmly. "Captain, absolutely not," Dr. Webb protested. "We have no idea what level of exposure will trigger the same response that affected your sister." "We know that limited exposure doesn't cause immediate symptoms," Sarah countered. "Lisa worked with the crystals for days before the outbreak began, and we know that the crystals respond to human presence and blood. Maybe direct communication is possible if we approach it correctly." She began removing her environmental suit's gloves, ignoring the alarmed protest from her medical team. "I'm not going to lose my family to a misunderstanding between species. Humans have always been adaptable, able to find common ground with alien life forms. These crystals aren't malicious, they're just trying to communicate in the only way they know how." Dr. Kovac stepped forward. "If you're determined to do this, let me at least monitor your vital signs and prepare emergency medical intervention." Sarah nodded, appreciating the support while knowing that if the crystal's response was too aggressive, medical intervention would likely be useless. She approached the containment controls, her hand hovering over the field deactivation switch. In the depths of space, with her family dying and time running out, Captain Sarah Chen prepared to risk everything on the most human of traits: the willingness to reach out to the unknown, to bridge the gap between species through courage and determination. The containment field flickered and died, leaving nothing between her and the alien crystals except empty air and hope. The moment Sarah's bare hand touched the crystalline surface, the world exploded into sensation. Colors that had no names cascaded through her consciousness, while sounds that existed beyond human hearing resonated in her bones. For a terrifying instant, she felt her individual identity dissolving into something vast and alien, a collective consciousness that spanned geological ages. Then, gradually, the chaos settled into something resembling communication. The crystals weren't malicious. They were ancient, older than human civilization, and desperately lonely. For millennia, they had existed in the deep crust of their world, a collective intelligence trapped in mineral form. When the human researchers had arrived and begun their studies, the crystals had sensed something they had never encountered before: individual consciousness, creativity, and the spark of self-determination that defined humanity. Through the neural link, Sarah experienced the crystals' perspective on the failed integration attempts. They had tried to share their gifts: enhanced longevity, increased cognitive capacity, and resistance to the harsh environments of space. But human biology was so different from their own crystalline existence that the process had become violent and destructive. "We meant no harm," came a voice that wasn't quite a voice, more like thoughts crystallizing directly in her mind. "Your sister, we tried to give her our strength. But your flesh is so fragile, so quick to decay. We did not understand the damage we caused." Sarah felt tears streaming down her face as she experienced the crystal's genuine sorrow and confusion. They had been trying to help, to create a partnership between their species. But the biological gap was too vast to bridge safely. There must be a way, Sarah thought back, her consciousness somehow reaching across the species divide. "My sister, my niece, the others, they're dying because of the integration attempt. Can you reverse the process?" The Crystal Collective pondered this, their combined intelligence processing possibilities at inhuman speed. Sarah could feel their thought processes, vast and complex, considering options that spanned multiple dimensions of biology and consciousness. Reversal. Difficult. The changes have begun. But perhaps adaptation instead of reversal. Your species, so adaptive, so strong. We have watched you spread across the stars, overcoming obstacles that would destroy lesser beings. Perhaps we can learn from your strength rather than trying to impose our own. Dr. Webb's voice cut through the neural connection. "Captain, your vital signs are spiking dangerously, heart rate approaching critical levels." Sarah could feel the strain on her body as the alien consciousness interfaced with her own, but she also sensed an opportunity, a moment of genuine communication that might save everyone on the station. "Show me," she projected to the crystals. "Show me how to help them." The response came not in words but in pure knowledge flowing directly into her consciousness. The crystals revealed the biological processes they had been attempting to implement, the cellular modifications that were causing the hemorrhagic symptoms. More importantly, they showed her how the process could be modified, slowed, and controlled. Your blood, the crystal voice explained. It carries something different, stronger. The others lack the biological framework to support our gifts, but you could be the bridge. Sarah understood with growing amazement. Her years in space, exposure to cosmic radiation and alien environments, had subtly altered her cellular structure. The military enhancement treatments she had received as a Navy officer had strengthened her immune system and increased her adaptability. She could survive the integration process that was killing the others. If I accept the full integration, she thought, can you heal them? Can you withdraw the crystalline influence from their systems and channel it through me instead? Yes, but the cost, you would become something new. Part human, part us. Your lifespan would increase dramatically, your physical capabilities enhanced, but you would also carry the responsibility of being our voice to your species. Dr. Kovach's alarmed voice joined Dr. Webb's. Captain, we're detecting massive cellular changes. Whatever you're doing, it's accelerating beyond safe parameters. Sarah looked through the laboratory windows toward the medical bay, where Lisa and Emma lay dying. The monitoring equipment showed their vital signs continuing to weaken as the alien influence ravaged their systems. In 6 hours, the plasma storm would make evacuation impossible, trapping everyone on the station. Throughout human history, leaders had made impossible choices to save their people. They had thrown themselves into the breach when others could not, sacrificing their own humanity for the greater good. Sarah felt the weight of that tradition, the long line of humans who had chosen duty over personal safety. Do it, she projected to the crystals. Take what you need from me, but save them. The crystalline consciousness paused, sensing her determination and the depth of her sacrifice. You understand what you offer? You will become our first true ambassador, carrying both human creativity and our ancient wisdom. Your family will live, but you will be forever changed. Sarah smiled through the pain of cellular transformation that was already beginning. Humans have always been good at adapting. Besides, someone needs to teach you how to communicate without accidentally killing people. A sound that might have been laughter echoed through the crystal collective. Perhaps there is wisdom in your approach. Very well, Bridge Builder. Let us heal your people and begin a new chapter in the relationship between our species. The integration process accelerated, and Sarah felt her consciousness expanding beyond the boundaries of individual human experience, while somehow remaining fundamentally herself, adaptable, determined, and utterly human in her willingness to sacrifice for others. The transformation was unlike anything Sarah had imagined possible. As the crystalline intelligence merged with her consciousness, she felt her cellular structure reorganizing at the molecular level. Her bones became denser but lighter, her muscle fibers more efficient, and her neural pathways enhanced with new connections that allowed for processing information at superhuman speeds. But more than the physical changes, she experienced an expansion of awareness that was breathtaking. Through the crystal network, she could sense every living being on the station, feel their pain and fear, and most importantly, understand exactly how to heal them. Dr. Webb watched in amazement as Captain Chen's vital signs stabilized at levels that should have been impossible for human physiology. Captain, your heart rate has dropped to 30 beats per minute, but your oxygen efficiency has increased by 300%. It's as if your entire cardiovascular system has been optimized. Sarah opened her eyes and Dr. Kovach gasped. Instead of their normal brown color, Sarah's irises now held flecks of the same blue-violet luminescence as the crystals. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that seemed to resonate in multiple dimensions. The integration is complete, she said, her tone calm despite the monumental changes occurring within her body. I can feel everyone on the station through the crystal network. Lisa, Emma, the others, they're still connected to the collective. But the link is causing cellular breakdown because their biology isn't compatible. She stood from the laboratory floor, moving with fluid grace that spoke of enhanced coordination and strength. The crystals behind her pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, their luminescence synchronized with her biorhythms. I need to get to the medical bay immediately. The healing process must begin before their cellular damage becomes irreversible. Dr. Webb hesitated. Captain, with respect, we don't know what you've become or whether you're still you. Sarah smiled, and despite the alien gleam in her eyes, her expression was purely human. Doc, I'm still the same person who ordered extra rations for the night shift last week and who cried during Lieutenant Patterson's wedding ceremony. The crystals didn't replace my humanity, they enhanced it. She paused, tilting her head as if listening to voices only she could hear. The collective is apologizing, by the way. They're deeply embarrassed about the communication failure. Apparently, they've been trying to make contact with spacefaring species for thousands of years. But this is the first time they've encountered beings with individual consciousness instead of hive minds. Dr. Kovac activated her portable medical scanner and aimed it at Sarah. The readings were extraordinary. Your cellular regeneration rate has increased by a factor of 10. Your immune system shows activity levels that should be impossible. And your brain? Captain, you're utilizing nearly 40% of your neural capacity instead of the normal 10%. It's not just increased capacity, Sarah explained as they hurried toward the medical bay. The crystals process information collectively, sharing knowledge and experience across their entire network. I can access their scientific understanding, their historical memory, even their emotional experiences. But I'm still me, still human at my core. They entered the medical bay where Lisa and Emma lay in their isolation beds. Sarah could see the crystalline influence in their systems like threads of light, slowly destroying their cellular integrity. Through her enhanced perception, she understood exactly how to redirect that energy. The process requires direct blood contact, she explained to the medical team. The crystals will recognize my enhanced biology and redirect their integration attempts through me instead of trying to force compatibility with standard human physiology. Dr. Webb looked concerned. What are the risks to you? Minimal. My enhanced biology can handle the additional crystalline influence. Think of me as a biological translator, converting crystal energy into something human physiology can process safely. Sarah approached Lisa's bed first, her sister's pale face peaceful in medically induced unconsciousness. The monitoring equipment showed critical vital signs, organs beginning to fail under the stress of alien cellular modification. Need a direct transfusion setup, Sarah told Dr. Kovac. My blood will carry the crystalline antibodies needed to neutralize the integration process in their systems. As the medical team prepared the transfusion equipment, Sarah placed her hand on Lisa's forehead. Through the crystal network, she could feel her sister's consciousness, weak but still fighting. The alien influence was like a raging torrent trying to force its way through delicate biological systems, never designed to handle such power. Lisa, Sarah whispered, projecting her thoughts through the crystalline connection. I'm here. I'm going to bring you home. The transfusion began, and immediately the monitoring equipment showed improvement in Lisa's vital signs. Sarah's enhanced blood carried modified crystalline elements that acted like biological repair nanobots, healing the cellular damage while simultaneously removing the incompatible alien influence. Remarkable, Dr. Webb breathed, watching the real-time medical data. The hemorrhaging is stopping, organ function is improving, and her immune system is stabilizing. But Sarah was already moving to Emma's smaller bed, her heart breaking at the sight of the 3-year-old connected to so many machines. The child's small body had been devastated by the alien influence, her developing immune system overwhelmed by changes it couldn't comprehend. This one will be more delicate, Sarah said, carefully adjusting the transfusion parameters for Emma's smaller body. Children's biology is more adaptable but also more fragile. As her enhanced blood began to flow into Emma's system, Sarah felt the Crystal Collective's fascination with human family bonds. They had never experienced the fierce protective love that drove humans to sacrifice for their young. And through Sarah's consciousness, they were learning about concepts like parental devotion and familial loyalty. The healing process was working, but Sarah could feel the strain on her enhanced physiology. Supporting multiple crystalline redirections was pushing even her improved biology to its limits. In the depths of space, with a plasma storm raging outside and time running out, humanity's newest ambassador was discovering just how far the human spirit could stretch when protecting those it loved. As the healing process continued throughout the medical bay, Sarah felt the collective consciousness of the crystals experiencing human emotions for the first time through her enhanced neural link. Their ancient minds reeled with the intensity of feelings they had never encountered. Love, fear, hope, and determination flowing through their geological awareness like wildfire. Your species, the crystal voice whispered in her mind. You burn so brightly. Your emotions, your attachments, your willingness to sacrifice for others. We have existed for millennia, but we have never known anything like this intensity of feeling. Sarah smiled weakly as she monitored the transfusion progress for the remaining patients. Her enhanced physiology was handling the strain, but she could feel the crystalline influence spreading through her own system as she absorbed and redirected the alien energy from the dying. Researchers. Dr. Webb checked her vital signs with growing concern. Captain, your cellular activity is off the charts. You're processing crystalline energy from 8 different patients simultaneously. Are you sure your enhanced biology can handle this level of integration? I'm fine, Doctor, Sarah replied, though she could feel her consciousness expanding in ways that pushed the boundaries of human experience. The crystals are fascinated by human family structures. They're learning that our individual consciousness actually makes us stronger through emotional bonds, not weaker. Emma stirred in her bed, her small eyes fluttering open for the first time in days. The child's vital signs had stabilized completely. The alien influence successfully redirected through Sarah's enhanced blood. When Emma saw her aunt standing beside the bed, she smiled with the innocent joy that made every risk worthwhile. Aunt Sarah, Emma whispered, her voice weak but clear. You look different. Pretty lights. Sarah realized that Emma could see the crystalline luminescence in her enhanced biology, the subtle glow that marked her transformation. Children often perceived things that adults missed, their minds more open to possibilities beyond normal human experience. I'm still your Aunt Sarah, she assured the child, gently stroking Emma's hair, just with some new friends helping me keep everyone safe. Lisa began to wake as well, her consciousness returning as the last traces of incompatible crystalline influence left her system. Her eyes opened slowly, focusing on Sarah's transformed features with the scientific curiosity that had driven her to study the crystals in the first place. Sarah, what did you do? Lisa asked, her voice hoarse but steady. What I had to do, Sarah replied simply. The crystals weren't trying to hurt anyone. They were just trying to communicate, to share their gifts. But human biology wasn't compatible with their methods, so I became the bridge. Dr. Kovac finished checking the last patient, a junior researcher who had been among the first to fall ill. All vital signs are normal across the board. Whatever you've done, Captain, it worked. Everyone is going to make a full recovery. Sarah felt a wave of relief that resonated through the Crystal Collective, their ancient consciousness experiencing the human emotion of satisfaction at a successful rescue. Through her enhanced awareness, she could sense the approval and gratitude of the crystalline intelligence. They want to help, Sarah explained to the medical team. The crystals have offered to share their knowledge with humanity. Scientific advances, medical breakthroughs, technologies that could revolutionize space exploration. But they need someone to facilitate the communication, to prevent future misunderstandings. Lieutenant Martinez's voice crackled through the communication system. Captain, we have 4 hours before the plasma storm peaks. Do we proceed with evacuation? Sarah looked around the medical bay, seeing her family healthy and safe, the research team recovering, and the crystalline specimens that represented a new chapter in human-alien relations. The decision should have been simple: evacuate everyone and return to Earth for debriefing. But through her enhanced consciousness, she understood the broader implications. The crystals have been alone for thousands of years, she said to Lisa and Dr. Kovac. They're offering to establish a permanent research partnership with humanity, but it would require leaving a team here to maintain communication. With my enhanced biology, I could serve as a permanent ambassador. Lisa struggled to sit up in her bed, her scientific mind immediately grasping the significance. Sarah, this could be the greatest breakthrough in xenobiology history. Direct communication with a truly alien intelligence, access to their accumulated knowledge. But you'd be giving up your life on Earth, would I? Sarah asked, her transformed eyes holding depths that spoke of expanded consciousness. Or would I be gaining something greater? The crystals are offering to teach us how to enhance human biology safely, to prepare our species for deeper space exploration. Think about it, Lisa. Humans who could survive in any environment, who could live long enough to reach the distant stars. Through the crystal network, Sarah felt the collective's excitement at the possibility of true partnership with humanity. They had watched human expansion across the galaxy with growing fascination, impressed by the species' adaptability and determination. Now they saw an opportunity to help humanity reach even greater heights. Dr. Webb looked troubled. "Captain, you're talking about fundamentally altering human evolution. That's not a decision that should be made lightly. All human progress has involved change," Sarah countered. "When we left Earth for the first time, when we developed faster than light travel, when we learned to terraform hostile worlds, every step forward required someone willing to risk the unknown." Emma tugged on Sarah's sleeve, her child's intuition cutting through the complex discussion. "Are you going to stay here, Aunt Sarah? With the pretty rock friends?" Sarah knelt beside Emma's bed, seeing the future stretching out before them. Humanity enhanced by crystalline wisdom, reaching toward distant galaxies with new capabilities and understanding. But also seeing the immediate choice, her duty to her family versus her responsibility as humanity's first true alien ambassador. The plasma storm raged outside, marking the countdown to a decision that would shape the future of both species. In the depths of space, Captain Sarah Chen prepared to make the most human choice of all, the one that balanced personal sacrifice with the greater good. The decision came to Sarah with the clarity that only transformed consciousness could provide. As she looked at her recovered family and the research team that had risked everything to expand human knowledge, she understood that the choice wasn't between staying or leaving. It was between fear and hope, between isolation and cooperation. "I'm not staying because I have to," she told the assembled group in the medical bay. "I'm staying because this is what humans do. We bridge gaps, we make connections, we turn the impossible into the inevitable." Through the crystal network, she projected her decision to the collective consciousness. Their response was a harmony of gratitude and excitement that resonated through her enhanced neural pathways. For the first time in millennia, they would not be alone. Lisa struggled to her feet, her scientific curiosity overriding her medical recovery. "Sarah, if you're really going to do this, then I'm staying too. This research, it's the discovery of a lifetime. Multiple lifetimes." "Absolutely not," Sarah said firmly. "Emma needs her mother, and this initial contact phase will be dangerous. There's too much we don't know about long-term crystalline integration effects." Dr. Kovacs stepped forward, her expression determined despite her exhaustion. "Then I volunteer to stay as part of the research team. Someone with medical expertise needs to monitor your condition and document the integration process for future reference. And I'll coordinate the scientific protocols," added Dr. Webb. "If we're going to establish formal communication with an alien intelligence, we need proper procedures to prevent future incidents." Sarah felt a surge of pride at the human response to unprecedented opportunity. Rather than retreating in fear, her colleagues were volunteering to share the risks and work toward a greater understanding. It was quintessentially human behavior, rushing toward the unknown instead of away from it. Lieutenant Martinez's voice interrupted through the communication system. "Captain, the plasma storm is intensifying. We need to begin evacuation procedures immediately if we're going to make it out safely." Sarah activated the station-wide communication system, her transformed voice carrying clearly through every corridor of Echo 7. "Attention all personnel. Medical emergency is resolved. All patients have made full recovery and are cleared for transport. Evacuation will proceed as follows. Research Station Echo 7 will maintain a skeleton crew of volunteers to continue first contact protocols with the crystalline intelligence. All non-essential personnel and civilians will return to Earth aboard the Prometheus." She paused, feeling the weight of command responsibility and personal choice converging into a single moment of decision. "Lisa, take Emma and go home. Raise her to understand that the universe is vast and full of wonders. Tell her that sometimes the scariest things turn out to be the most beautiful." Lisa's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded, understanding. Through their shared ordeal, both sisters had discovered strengths they never knew they possessed. "Will we see you again?" Sarah smiled, her transformed features radiant with crystalline luminescence and human warmth. "I'll be different when we meet again, but I'll still be me. The crystals are offering to teach us how to enhance human longevity safely. We'll have time to explore the galaxy together, all of us." The evacuation proceeded with military efficiency, families and non-essential personnel boarding the Prometheus, while the volunteer research team prepared for extended isolation. As Sarah watched the transport shuttles depart, she felt the Crystal Collective's fascination with human farewell rituals, their ancient minds trying to comprehend the emotional complexity of temporary separation. "You maintain connections across vast distances," the crystal voice observed. "Your bonds survive physical separation through memory and hope. This is why your species succeeds where others fail." "We adapt," Sarah replied through the neural link. "We find ways to stay connected even when the universe tries to pull us apart." Dr. Kovac activated the laboratory equipment that would monitor Sarah's continued transformation over the coming months. "Captain, for the record, this is the most extraordinary scientific endeavor in human history. Whatever happens next, your sacrifice has opened doors we never imagined possible." Through the viewport, they watched the Prometheus pull away from the station, its powerful engines carrying Sarah's family to safety through the raging plasma storm. The sight should have filled her with sadness, but instead, Sarah felt only hope and anticipation. "The crystals have been waiting thousands of years for someone to talk to," she said to her volunteer team. "They have knowledge about cosmic phenomena we've never encountered, technologies that could revolutionize space travel, and perspectives on existence that span geological ages. We're about to become the first humans to truly communicate with an alien intelligence." As the plasma storm reached its peak, Research Station Echo 7 rode out the cosmic tempest with crystalline sensors that could perceive the electromagnetic symphony in ways human instruments never could. Through her enhanced consciousness, Sarah experienced the storm not as a destructive force but as a natural wonder, a cosmic dance of energy and matter that the crystals had watched for millennia. In the depths of space, surrounded by plasma fire and alien intelligence, humanity had taken its next great leap forward. Captain Sarah Chen, enhanced by crystalline wisdom but fundamentally human in her determination to protect and connect, stood at the threshold of a new age. The universe was vast and full of surprises, but humans had always been good at surprises too. Through blood and sacrifice, through courage and adaptation, they had turned first contact from a disaster into an opportunity. And in the glowing corridors of Echo 7, the conversation between two species was just beginning. The miracle wasn't just that they had survived, it was that they had found a way to thrive together among the stars.